Assalamu alaikum. Brother Jamal told you the truth. Osama Jamal told you the truth. When you're here, you cannot see anything down there. So I will address you as best as I can. First, I would like to start by telling you about my own personal journey as a Muslim. I was 16 years old. I was in a mall in California, and just like silly teenagers, we had water guns. And so we went to Catholic school, so we were used to dressing very, very conservatively. And some people weren't, so what we would do, we would shoot them with water. So a group of brothers came up to us, and they asked us, "What are you doing?" And we said, "We're shooting people with water." And they asked us, "Why are you doing that?" We said, "Because their clothing is immodest." He said, "Well, this isn't the way to make someone to be modest." And we had never, ever in our lives seen anybody in a jalabiyah. So we were a little bit shocked and surprised, and we asked them where they were from, and they told us. And they asked us what we believe and what we do, and we said we had just started transcendental meditation, and we said we were so proud of ourselves. We said we meditate twice a day. And he said, "Well, we meditate 5 times a day." And I thought, he has one up on us. So he asked us to come to the masjid. He said, "Promise. You have to swear, you have to promise that you're going to come to the masjid on Friday." So we agreed, and he gave us the address. And he didn't really tell us anything about it. He said, "This is where we meet, Muslims meet on Friday, and we would like to invite you to come to learn about our religion." So we were very excited, and we showed up on Friday. And Americans have this tradition. They always want to get a front seat. Always want to get a front seat so they can see everything. Well, we walked into the masjid, and we really didn't see any shoes for women. We just saw a bunch of shoes for men. So I told my friend, maybe a lot of women didn't come. So we walked inside, and there was a man standing at a podium just like this. And he was giving what now I know was the khutbah. And so we walked past all the brothers, and we sat down right in front of the imam. And as much as he tried, he could not hold his laugh. And then we heard someone go, "Psst, psst, psst." And we turned and we looked toward the side, and we see that the place for the women during the prayer was off on the right. So even though we were extremely embarrassed, we got up and we humbly walked over to the right. And they told us everything that we needed to know and everything I needed to know, because I had been praying for a long time for who I called God at that time to bless me with the way that I would be happy with. And as soon as they said that our God is Allah, Wallahi Azim, as soon as they said it, something clicked. I knew that that was the place I was supposed to be. So a very kind brother that was going to the university near USC and one from UCLA, they started to teach us to pray. Even before we became Muslim, they wanted to introduce us to what Islam is. And after a while, that brother, he had to go back to his country, and there was another brother there. And he and another group began to teach us about wudu, about prayer, about worshiping Allah. This man was a student at USC. This man, his name was Muhammad Mercy. And from Muhammad Mercy, there was a path. And then they instructed us to go to another masjid that they felt would enhance our religion. And we went there. And the one that greeted us, his name was Ghassan Alashi. Eventually, he would begin Holy Land Foundation. I always say that this was the best of times, because if you took your Shahada during that time, you were blessed. You were not alone going down the path. When I went home, I went to Juma a few times. When I went home wearing a hijab, my mother went ballistic. There was nothing I could do to ease her temper, so I went to go stay with my friend. Pretty soon she adapted. And she also became adapted to the fact that I went to the masjid. I didn't just go to the masjid on Friday, because on Monday and Thursday, that entire community fasted. On Wednesday was the halakha for women. On Friday night was the halakha for the entire community and the dinner. Saturday was the children's program. And Sunday was the family picnic. We were a community that we weren't just a group of people that knew each other. We were a group of people that became a family. And when I left and I moved, well, they started having these wonderful, wonderful camps. And they wanted me to even learn more about my religion. So they invited a sheikh to come and to talk about what Islam is and about how we should participate, how to maximize ourselves in Islam, how to do our duty as Muslims. At the time, this sheikh was organizing people to go to Afghanistan because the war had started. And people all over the world were going there, fi sabilillah. They didn't know what they would find there, but they went there because they had the courage to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requested of them. And their love of the deen was so powerful that not even a war could hold them back. Right here in New York, there was an office. And that office arranged travel for thousands of Muslims. And despite what seemed like an imbalance of power, the Muslims were victorious. And although things happened after that, at that point in time, we saw miracles that also heightened my religion, because I knew that those miracles could only come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After I was there for about a year and a half, the sheikh, he was assassinated, and I returned back to America. And the same year my father died, within months of each other. And I knew that even though that was one of the saddest parts of my life, I knew that I had received the best type of training, the best type of courage, the best training and courage that I don't think most converts ever see, especially today, in their lifetime. Now, I left after I went to Afghanistan. I went to Lebanon. I went to Lebanon, Afghanistan. I went to Scotland. I worked with refugees there. It was from one place to another. And I returned to the United States. I returned to the United States about 1 week before 9/11. I thought for a second, well, maybe I shouldn't have come back. But actually, I always believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts you exactly where He wants you to be. Because many people had different ideas about Islam, what it is, what it isn't, but this was an opportunity. This was the time that we should collect all the information that we have learned and to pass it to the society, that Islam is a mercy, that Islam means to develop goodness of heart. And after a while, the years went by, and the people that taught me Islam were dealt a very hard blow. I think they were the collateral damage for 9/11, when what they were trying to do was to spread goodness, not just for the people of Palestine, but Bosnia and all the countries where Muslims were suffering and even where non-Muslims were suffering. And so that transition led me to, I'll skip, I only have 5 minutes left, to 2 years ago. And at the beginning, when the new administration came in, I thought, why? What did we do? And then I had to be honest about myself, that the threat to democracy was not a particular president. It was a lack of commitment that meant Muslims, Americans, Muslims from America, Muslims who's transitioned from their countries to America, we lost something during the process. We forgot our own sense of power. We forgot what the Prophet ﷺ taught us a long time ago, that if we believe in Allah, that's where we derive our power from. And if we use this part of our lives as a test and we develop it to support the organizations that need our help, to encourage Muslims to be active, Islam will grow, as even the statistics show that it's growing now. And it is the fastest growing religion, not just in America, but the world. Our duty now is not to look at the total picture from just within, but from without. We not only see travesties of justice in the Muslim community, but now we see it in the Latino community. We see what's happening to the Muslims of Burma. And just let me say, if this isn't a sign to you that you must use your inner strength, develop soundness of mind based on your love for Allah and your belief in the practice of the Prophet, we will not be successful. But if we do, we will be successful. At the end of the day, it's up to us. Because no matter how powerful anyone believes he is, nothing is more powerful than the power of the people once they react to injustice. So I invite you all, please, do something between now and next year. Become active, whether it's in USCMO, whether it's in the Shura community here, Majlis al-Shura, whether it's in CARE. I'm not telling you to join MAS. Yes, I have my preferences. But I'm asking you to join the Islamic movement, to create understanding between us and non-Muslims, to show that we stand up for human rights, whether they're Latino or something else. Because at the end of the day, either we're all going to be together or we will be destroyed apart in our own circles of certainty. So please, Join the Islamic movement where you find it, be consistent with it, and remember, the only reward you're going to get that matters is the reward of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you.